Hey, good morning, guys. Mike with Chassis Parts Online again with you. We're on this 56 this morning, trying to wrap this thing up. It's about 7:30, so I got about a half an hour left this morning inside. Then I can go inside, work on some other stuff for this. I've got the arms on, the coilover mount on, spindle on, and I need to do the other side. I can see some things I need to mod here to have a little bit more adjustment and have some more room for adjustment, getting wrenches in there. One of the things I think I'll do is I'll make this cam washer here, I'm going to make it, instead of 3/16, I'm going to make it 1/8 thick, so you can get a wrench on here better. Plus, I'm going to turn it around to where the nut is on this side. Now the nut on a 9/16 bolt and nut, the head of these are different sizes. These are 13/16 and these are 7/8 on the nut. So I'm going to make it where they go in from the inside, make it easier to pull those to adjust the arms if you have to. I need to trim this in the CAD drawing. This is going to be fine, but I need to trim this for future in the CAD drawing to have more room here going down for when I turn that around. Just to make sure it doesn't have any interference with anybody else. So spindle fits good. I've got to come up with the hubs. The hubs I've got new. I just got to get the old bolts out of one of my cross members to put on here and go from there. I've got the rack ready to go on. But this morning, I think the other thing to do would be to go ahead and put the other arm on and the other coilover mount and the other spindle on, and then try to do the rack if I have enough time. Because I really need to get the rack ends cut and modified. I'll show you how I do that when I get ready to do that. Get the tie rods on, get the hubs on so I can put wheels on this so this truck can leave. I'm still going to have to put the body mounts back on, which shouldn't be a big deal. But then this truck can leave this weekend, and then we'll be back on the 83 that we're doing. We got to do a bunch of moving in the shop this weekend. We got stuff in the backyard that's got to come all the way through the middle of the shop. But that's going to be a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. So, you guys hit that like button, subscribe. Hey, hit me with questions. Let me know what you think about this setup. This is the 53 to 56. This is a 56 F-100. 53 to 56 setup, prototype setup. The production version will be just a little bit different, but not much. The 57 to 60 is going to be very similar to this, and so will the 61 to 64. It'll be very similar. That centerpiece will for sure be the same. The boxes that go in the frame right there will be a little bit different, and the outer plate may be a little different, but everything else will be the same. The rear arm mounts will probably not be the same because they may not have the same holes on the 57 to 60 frame or the 61 to 64. But those are easy things to remedy and keep in stock. But I'd like to get this thing together with the arms. These are my adjustable Crown Vic upper arms. They use a rod in. I don't like using a Heim on suspension because it induces vibration into the suspension, into the chassis where you can feel it. But on the upper control arms, you're probably not going to feel it much. I mean, you may not even notice it. So a lot of other guys will use Heims right there. You use good quality Heims. Probably never have any problems out of it. But I think it's just as a general rule, I think I just avoid Heims on this type of stuff. Unless somebody really wants Heims instead, then I can do those Heims too. So, all right, let me see how much of this I can get together, and we'll go from there. Okay, so here's our stopping point for this morning. I got the hub on this side. I had to go round out some bolts. I actually had to go take the bolts out of one of the boxes of Crown Vic bolts that I had. It came off of one of my front ends because the customer did not bring any bolts or anything for this. So I'm probably going to take those bolts, measure them, and order some or get some. See if I can find some on Amazon that can be delivered tomorrow. If not, I'll go to the bolt place and get some. Got the other spindle ready. I got the other upper arm on and the coilover mount on. Just need to stick the spindle on this, put the hub on it. Then the next step will be the tie rods. In case you guys don't know, on a narrowed cross member like this, there's quite a bit of material that has to come off the rack and off of the tie rods. And I'll tell you exactly what that is when we do it. But you guys that have my 1 inch shorter control arms, that have it on a aluminum Crown Vic cross member, on the tie rods, you take off 3/4 of an inch. And on the ends of the rack, the male threaded end of the rack, you take 3/4 inch off each end of that too. So 3/4 and 3/4 off each side, and that gives you the right amount on 1 inch shorter control arms to still be able to adjust it pretty good. So this one here has shorter arms and a rack and a cross member that's 4 3/4 narrow. So we're a whole lot shorter than, we're almost 6 inches. Actually, yeah, we are 6 inches. So we're 6 3/4 shorter than the factory Crown Vic. Now the factory Crown Vic, from what I understand, is 67 inches. Some people say 67.5, but everything I've found is hub face to hub face is 67 inches. So most of these Ford trucks are around 60, 61, depending on the year, something like that. So that ought to get us right down about where the factory width was. Should help quite a bit as far as turning. Obviously, this is an upgrade over the original suspension with the single big straight axle under it. So I may get a chance to come out here this afternoon when I get done with all my other stuff and put this on, put the other hub on. If not, we'll do this in the morning so this guy can come get this truck this weekend. I'll message him and go from there. He's been gracious enough to give me a few extra weeks on it. So I've had it a lot longer than I thought I was going to have it, but sometimes stuff like this, prototyping, takes a little bit of time. The good thing about it is the 57 to 60 is nearly the same, as I've said, and the 61 to 64 is nearly the same. So the prototyping on those won't take us long. And on the 83, I've got a customer that's close to me that's took his frame completely apart, cut all the interior bracing out of it, sent me a bunch of pictures of it, which showed me quite a bit of how I'll be able to do that 80 to 96 frame, which that helped me, him sending me all those pictures. So I'll be able to do that 80 to 96 frame pretty quick too. That cross member in the center section will be the same on those. The difference will be the boxes and the outer mount. It's going to be an odd shape on that 83, but we'll make it work. So if you guys have any questions or anything, just post them in the comments and I'll answer them best I can. Till then, peace. Hey, good morning, guys. Back on this 56 again. I'm Mike with Chassis Parts Online. This is where I got to this morning. I'm at the end of my time this morning. Got the rack installed, the steering. I put the steering U-joint on here so that I could get this centered, the steering centered. This is a 36, 3/4 36 spline on that end, and it goes to a double D, 3/4 double D right here on this end. Generally, most of your F-100s, 60s and 70s, the bottom spline on the column, if you knock that little flat plate off, there's a 3/4 36 spline on it. So if you'll get 2 of these 3/4 36 spline to 3/4 double D, and a double D slip shaft in the middle to go in the middle, you can hook yours up pretty easy. You may need a heim joint mount somewhere in between, and I was thinking about making it part of this mount right here, or at least making some holes to bolt one on, and making a couple generic ones, laser cut ones, that a customer could use that would be adjustable here and there to make that easier. This guy has the column, got the steering column covered up, but the column in this one is out of a late model Ford truck or van, because it's got the steering matches the key, the chip of the key, I guess you could call it, and the steering and all that matches the computer that he's going to use. So he's using that column. So I don't know what end is on it, but it stops somewhere up inside there. So he's going to hook that up. But anyways, but like 60s and 70s Ford trucks, 3/4 36 spline on the bottom. So that makes that easy. For you guys that don't know, this is a 1996 Lincoln Mark 8 rack. It's the correct width, as we talked about, for fitting with these control arms being shorter. Also, the threads on the rack match the factory Crown Vic tie rod ends. The threads are M14 1.5. So I'm gonna have to put this on, then I'm gonna have to cut this off. As you can see, we're gonna have to cut off quite a bit. I think the sweet spot to cut it off is right past that flat nub. I'm gonna measure it from the inside and stick it on there and see what I'll make the wheels point exactly straight. I'll check that with a ruler on both sides. And then I'll put both tie rods on. And then I'll see exactly where I got to cut it. And then when I do, I'll save that information for you. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and I did one on a 54 years ago. But it was a stub in. The whole front end had a Chrysler front end welded in it, and I had to cut it off up under the cab and stub it in. So I made a narrow version of it. This is like 2019 or something, years ago. So it's been a while. Don't remember what I cut off on the end. I just know it works. But as I said, the threads are M14 by M14 1.5, and so are the Crown Vic tie rod ends. The Fox body rack is very similar to this, except it has 9/16 threads there. So you have to have some kind of adapter, or you got to use a heim or something on the end. So that's why we use the Mark 8 rack, because it's the right width. Anyways, this is where I'm at. It's the end of my time this morning. I got the everything on here except for the coilovers. He's got QA1 coilovers, which I don't know what these are made for, but we got an issue here because they have a 3/4 hole and they've got a sleeve that comes with it that goes down to 1/2 inch. Okay, well, all the holes on my stuff is 5/8 or 16 millimeter to match Crown Vic struts. So I've got to come up with some sleeve material to go from 3/4 down to 5/8 because of the holes in here are 5/8. Now the top holes are 1/2 inch, so I just got to do something on the bottom. I will need to come up with some spacers, but once I come up with these spacers, you guys that need the spacers for yours, I can tell you what it needs. Now obviously all coilovers are going to be different. Some may be the same width, some not. But so I won't be stocking any of that stuff or making any of that stuff. If I do, I would probably have it made by some other machine shop, so it doesn't take me time to do it. But anyways, that's where we're at for today. Once I get the steering hooked up, I'll be able to set this thing on the ground, put the wheels on it. In the meantime, I've got another hour I can spend on this in the shop. So I'm going to measure those tie rods. I got to find the other one. I can't figure out what to do with the other one. Got them off of Rock Auto. So I'm going to find the other one. I'll figure out how the depth works there, where I need to cut these. And basically, once I cut that, I've got this tool. I don't know if you guys have seen one of these before. This tool right here. Once you cut that off, you run this tool over the end of it, and it cleans up the threads. Okay. Now, cutting this off, all I got to do is run a taper into it, and it'll be fine. This did not come with jam nuts, so I'll have to see if I've got some jam nuts off the original Crown Vic rack. I bet I do. If not, I'll order some. M14 1.5 jam nuts shouldn't be that hard to find. As you can see, I got the rack mounted. It's got bushings that come in the rack. This is a rebuilt rack. This one is not new. But it's got a bushing there with a sleeve inside that, metal sleeve inside it. So basically, this rack is riding in rubber. You can move it. And basically, I moved it side to side, and I measured from the frame out to there to center that thing. And as you can see, it's real close to the motor mounts right there, but that's what he is on the factory one too. So anyways, again, that's where we're at. Let me know what you guys think. Leave some comments, questions, whatever, and we'll go from there. Hopefully the next video has this thing with some wheels on it. Still got to go ahead and put the body mounts back on so before I can set this thing back down. As you can see, the cab is sitting on stands. The frame is sitting on separate stands, so I'll have to do that. But I've already talked with the owner. Today is Thursday, so he's going to get hold of me this weekend, probably tomorrow or Saturday, and come get it probably, I don't know, Sunday or who knows when. Anyways, but I'll be done with it. If I'm not done with it by tomorrow, then for sure Saturday. I need to move it on Saturday because I got to get stuff out of the backyard. Anyways, I guess that's all I got for you now.